Welcome back to Faithful Lens. What if there was a lost document, a collection of Jesus' teachings that played a crucial role in the creation of the Gospels of Matthew and Luke? Today, on Faithful Lens, we explore the intriguing mystery of the Q source. This hypothetical text could hold the key to understanding the origins and composition of the Bible. The Q source, also known as the Q document or Q gospel, is a theoretical collection of Jesus' sayings. Scholars believe it served as a common source for the authors of Matthew and Luke. But this document, if it existed, has never been found. So, how do we know about it? What clues do scholars use to suggest its existence? The groundwork for the Q source theory came from the development of source criticism in the 19th century. This method analysed the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, for similarities and differences, suggesting they might have drawn from earlier sources. The primary evidence comes from the Gospels themselves. Matthew and Luke share material not found in Mark or John, known as the Synoptic Gospels, passages that focus on the teachings of Jesus. This overlap suggests that both authors might have used a shared source, what scholars call the Q source, from the German word Quell, meaning source. Where does the idea of the Q source come from? Scholars believe Q may have originated as an oral tradition passed down in early Christian communities before being compiled into a written document. Though some debate exists, the prevailing view is that Q was eventually written down. By examining the similarities and differences between the Gospels, scholars can piece together the Q source's potential content. The focus is on Jesus' teachings and parables, which form the core of Matthew and Luke's shared passages. Let's go deeper into the similarities. For instance, the Beatitudes and the Lord's Prayer are found in both Matthew and Luke, suggesting a shared origin. But beyond these well-known passages, what other teachings and parables might the Q source contain? Despite its elusive nature, the Q source offers valuable insights into the transmission and recording of Jesus' teachings. Scholars continue to debate its form and function, whether it was an oral tradition, a written document, or something else entirely. What about the critics of the Q source idea? Some argue that the observed similarities between Matthew and Luke can be explained by other theories, like the Farrer theory. This theory suggests Matthew and Luke used Mark, and additionally, Luke used some of Matthew's material. Proponents of this approach argue that positing an entire lost document, Q, is unnecessary. While the dominant view sees Q as a saying source, some argue it likely contained more than just sayings. Reconstructing a narrative structure from the fragmented material in Matthew and Luke is challenging. Opponents argue that the lack of concrete evidence for its existence weakens the theory. The study of the Q source has a broader context within biblical scholarship. For instance, the origins of the Bible are steeped in mystery, particularly regarding the development of the Old Testament. The documentary hypothesis provides one approach to understanding the composition of the Torah. This theory posits that the Pentateuch encompasses 4 originally independent documents: the Jahwist, Elohist, Deuteronomist, and priestly sources. These sources, each with distinct styles and perspectives, offer a rich mix of history, religion, and culture. But how does the Q source fit into this broader narrative? Could it provide a link between the Old and New Testaments? Exploring the Q source and its role in shaping the Gospels opens up new avenues of inquiry. It allows us to understand how Jesus' teachings were preserved and passed down through generations. The Q source's significance extends beyond biblical scholarship. It challenges our understanding of the transmission of knowledge in ancient times and how early Christians compiled their sacred texts. Scholars' pursuit of the Q source is part of a larger effort to comprehend the history and evolution of the Bible. This journey helps us appreciate the depth and complexity of these ancient texts. The quest for the Q source is not without its controversies. Some scholars remain skeptical of its existence, while others argue for its crucial role in the formation of the Gospels. Despite the debates, the Q source remains a central topic in biblical studies. It serves as a reminder of the complex process behind the creation of the Bible and the transmission of sacred knowledge. As we conclude our exploration of the Q source, remember that this journey is part of a broader quest to understand the origins and composition of the Bible. So what do you think? Is the Q source fact or fiction? And if it's real, will we ever find it? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this interesting. Stay tuned for more insightful episodes on Faithful Lens.